This is Joe Crispin, former Penn State and professional basketball player. You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
I think you said that he could have gotten more separation.
There were some technique fundamentals in receiver that weren't perfect in the 80s. I had to throw in a few points of criticism.
What was it like playing in March Madness? I mean, we have it going on right now.
But playing there was amazing. I mean, like, that's kind of your whole goal is to just be a part of that. It's such a special thing where the whole country is tuning in and anything is really possible, you know.
You know, my optimistic side said, like I said, that we're going to be okay. We just had a bad game. We're probably experimenting a little bit, ran into a good team. So.
If Miami came to our house, we would probably, if anything, win. We wouldn't get blown out.
When you first started playing football, you know, did you always want to play in college?
No, I was growing up. I was a big baseball guy. Loved baseball. And then 8th grade, I remember I got a call from my uncle, Coach Nagel. He's like, hey, I got the job. And I was just like, all right, I'll play football for you.
You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. It's as honest and as raw as sports talk can be. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
Hey, everybody, this is Greg Garrity.
So Anthony Lottie will punt it away from the 41. Greg Garrity is the deep man for Penn State at the 10-yard line.
Former Penn State receiver and 2016 Big Ten champion. You're listening to the best Penn State Nittany Lion podcast, the Mark Lesko Podcast.
Thank you, Greg Garrity, for those kind words. I always appreciate it. Welcome back in, guys, to another episode of the Mark Lesko Podcast. Joined by Brett and Jared once again. Brett, you can hop off after we're done with Penn State. Jared and I can do Steelers. Of course, we lost to the Colts. I knew that would happen. That's the worst team we played, and we lost. But, hey, man, we both
Cowgirls
have
up next.
Huh?
Cowgirls up next. You got the Cowgirls.
Yeah. So, pretty much.
Which means we'll struggle just as bad.
We'll both.
Well, they have a lot of injuries, so I mean, I guess it should be close.
Again, yeah. We'll be suffering. We will be struggling. We will.
Yeah, both teams have key injuries, which is Highsmith and Micah. So, you know,
and Daniels is out for the season. James Daniels is out.
Yeah.
Right guard. It's a huge part of their line. Huge part.
Their cornerback's out. What's his name? Their best cornerback. Diggs. Well, no, not Diggs.
Joey.
One of them is out. One of their defensive backs on the Cowboys.
Oh, okay. I was like, Joey's out. No, I hope not.
No. On the Cowboys. I forget who.
Okay.
I think he's out too.
All right. So
there's a lot.
Vanderbilt is up by 5 right now on Bama.
They need to keep the ball, then burn the clock, but I don't think they can do it, man.
That was probably like a 40-point. That was probably a 40-point spread. Speaking of spreads, we were 28.5. You know, I was at the game. Brett was at the game. I sat right behind the recruits. Had really good seats. Brett was like in a helicopter above the stadium. That's how high he was. I saw where you were, Brett. Yeah. You were way up there.
It's more comfortable. You get a seat. So that's good. You get a seat.
Yeah. I would rather sit up there.
You can see plays develop up there. You know, I'm still lost half the time. Like, what happened? But I mean, still, it's a good time.
Yeah. I would rather sit up there because you can see the whole field. You get a seat. You can move around as much as you want, pretty much.
Yep.
Where
it was packed in there, man. 110,000.
Yeah, where I was, so. I literally had I think his name was Travis Johnson. He was right in front of me. It was guys that I didn't recognize. Brett might have recognized some of them because he's recruiting, but I was literally had my knees in their backs. One of them I think had two of them. I don't know if it was their if it was their kids or not, but there was two like 1-year-olds there. And I think it was like probably the players' kids or a sister. I'm not sure, but they were right in front of me. They were both like two of the guys that were in front of me. Like I was like kneeing them in the back, like dropping candy on them, and they were cool. But
that's funny. The best recruit that was on campus today, well, at the game, not on campus, but you know what I mean. Brandon Finney, if that name rings a bell. Oregon picked him up. He's in he goes to Madonna. He's in Maryland's backyard, which we recruit really well from Maryland. He was Penn. Oregon came out of nowhere a few months ago. Probably tossed some money at him, and he committed to Oregon. Well, we got him on campus today, so it's flip season. Let's go. Let's get Brandon Finney. He's a safety. He could be a receiver. He's an athlete. He can do whatever he wants. So it all depends on what he wants to do. He can play any position. Safety, cornerback, receiver. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, the seats are really good, but they cram you in there. And
yeah, they do.
I went there with someone, and she's tall like me, and like we're both tall, we both have long legs, and we're both either sitting sideways or with our legs like wide open because and then the people behind us, like we had like a whole family behind us, and you know, same thing for them. I mean, they're crammed in there too. But I mean, the seats were insane. Like, I mean, I was on TV at one point. I can't remember when. I think it was when I was walking with my food. But yeah, it's the layout there is obviously different. The last time I was there was in 2021 for the Indiana game at home. Michael Penix was the quarterback, and that was when our run game was atrocious. And a couple things about today. Well, first of all, Beaver Stadium looks different. They have the video boards. The concourse is pretty nice, but if you go to like a concession stand, you have to find the one that has the chicken baskets. If they have like fries, chicken basket ones. They have hot dog ones, and then the coolers are set up real nice too
on the side.
Yeah. Like and by the way, State Light is like one of my favorite beers now. It's so good. It's an NIL beer.
I see a lot of people drinking it. Yeah,
man, it's really good. Like it's I don't know who made. I don't know. I know the company that made it, but man, like they did a good job on that. But yeah, it's the way it's laid out. It's pretty nice. I mean, it's and I don't know if it was like this before, but they have like it had to have been. But they have the bathrooms like in the middle, and there's like 2 lanes on each side at the bottom at least. And then you know, we were trying to get through to our seats because we came in on the opposite side and the tunnel was closed off because the players were about to come out. So we had to go up and around and then back down. And but yeah, it's laid out pretty nice, but it'll be nice once they have the seating a little better, because I think in the future now, everyone's going to have their own seat. I don't think there's going to be any more bleachers, and they're still going to have 100,000 plus. There's 110,000 today. And the section that we were in, I think that's the part where they're literally tearing that whole side down. We were on the suite side, you know, we were behind our sideline, and I think they're tearing that all down, and then they're building it up into like this new stadium. So the video boards are just like an early addition to this.
Yeah.
And yeah, just overall, it's laid out pretty good, but
they made some improvements.
Yeah, I would still rather watch it at home. Yeah. But I zoomed in on Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson. I zoomed in all the way on them, and I have like pictures, like, because they were literally right across from us. We were at like literally the 50. But it's interesting how the recruits are there. They're all there. There was a ton of them there, and most of them left after the third quarter. I'm assuming they were going back to like eat or something, because they have them set up real good there. I saw Steve, who does the recruiting. He was like ushering them in. I'm going to try to have him on soon. We're trying to figure that out. But I was going to say hi to him, but he was like too far away. But yeah, first, like a couple things. First and foremost, I wanted to watch the O-line and D-line more. I'm always distracted by the play. But first and foremost, to start out, the timing on that play action pass was off. Aller was slow on his throw to Fleming. and then another time he was slow to Fleming. So the timing of that was not right. It's really frustrating when UCLA kept throwing those short passes and they kept converting. But the offense, man, and I don't know. I don't know if they can win a national title or go undefeated with this type of these performances, that's fine. But I don't think they will. And I pretty much right now with the way this offense is, and if Drew Aller doesn't leave or he does leave, I just under James Franklin, I don't know if we're ever going to see what we want to see as fans. So that's where I'm at right now. Like Jared said before, that we did not show dominance today. I mean, that was a horrible team we played. And we have like absolute freaks on our defense, and being there closer, seeing them hit, hearing them hit. I mean, that's a hard hitting defense. It's a good defense. I don't think Abdul, I don't know. Let me look at the stats here, but they didn't really show any dominance, man. I mean, the defense did what they needed to do, but the offense, I just don't get it. I don't understand this. The person I was there with was laughing because she just like every time something happened, I just like would sit there and shake my head. I'm like, what is going on right now? Because I was pretty mad. But so we got. Let me see. We got
Liam Clifford, man, legacy game for him.
Yeah, Jalen Reed had a sack. Zane Durant had a half sack. Amin had a half sack. So how? And if you see these guys in person, I mean, I literally could have reached out and touched them pretty much. Dan Connors looks bigger than all of them. He's still massive, but Abdul Carter just looks like a freak. He's a freak, man. He's like so big. Denai is big. Tony Rojas is big. Our defensive backs are big. Like they're all big. But I don't know. It's just the lack of sacks for one thing. I don't know, man. I wasn't very happy with it. I think it's going to catch up to them at some point. Now, I think we can keep winning against any team we play, but I just want to see more exciting offense, and we're just not seeing it. I mean, we had literally Quentin Martin is our backup running back right now, which I like because I love that guy. But the offense just wasn't there against this bad team that we played, and I don't get it. So whoever wants to talk, you can talk.
I want to do it. Can I do it? Can I do this? Vanderbilt just upset Alabama.
Is it over?
Wow. It's over. Alabama lost. They went down, man.
Still a minute left. Right?
We're going up. No, they lost. I have it up right now. Wow. Dude, how did that happen?
Well, it all started with the pick six in the first half, man.
Right.
And it wasn't even Jalen's fault. He threw it. It hit off a guy's helmet, and it went right in dude's hand, and he picked it. He ran it back.
First win versus AP number 1 snaps 23-game losing streak to Alabama. So they haven't beat Alabama since 2000.
That's at home. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
They haven't beat them since 2001.
So this is the thing that makes me feel better about where we're at. So let me go real quick. Okay.
Yep.
So this is
Ohio
this is
State
what I'm
was up 7-0 at halftime, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and then they blew the doors off in the second half. Yeah, so they started slow like a lot of people. This is the problem. Third down play calling is continuing to piss me off. It's making me angry. That's when I was shaking my head, Mark. 3rd and 5. Let's run it with Katron Allen, who, by the way, wasn't his fault. They weren't blocking for him the whole game, so it wasn't his fault. He had 3.8 yards per carry, which isn't awful, and he had a bigger load. But think of it. Do the math. If he's having 3.8 yards per carry, it's 3rd and 5. Why are you running it? That pissed me off. 2nd and 13. Why are you running it? You got a yard that time. It was 3rd and 12. Those were both drives that we kicked field goals. Why? Because of the stupid play calling to not try to get a first down, to throw the ball. At least try it. Drew, 70% completion percentage. He had a couple off throws in the first half. He was on point in the second half. He was throwing just fine. 237 yards, 17 for 24. He was fine. Stop taking the ball out of his hands. Stop putting Bo in the freaking underline. I'd rather have Ty Warren take the snap than Bo, just because he's less predictable at this point. We've used Bo for 2 years now on what he's going to do. You know what I'm saying? So some of the play calling is making me angry. What made me mad, which I knew was going to happen, I left with 2 minutes left because I knew UCLA was going to score on our backups, by the way. So I just left. I'm like, I'm not even watching that because I know we're not going to get the ball back and do anything. So overall, really, it was 27-3. We should have had my prediction was like 40-something to 6 or something.
Yeah, 37-15 or something.
I don't think we would have had 40-something, but we certainly should have had 30-something, and that's what I would have been fine with. 35 or something, and that's what we should have had. So, but without Nick Singleton, we didn't even address that. It was a game time decision. Franklin thought he would have him today, but you know what? We didn't need him to get banged up in this game. We need him next week more than ever. So let him rest. Let him rest up until next week. We'll be just fine.
There's no reason to play him.
No, there's not. But overall, I mean, the slow start, 3 and out, that was annoying. Tom Allen's first quarter defense is awful. I don't know what he's doing, but he needs to get his head out of his you-know-what. Tom Dowland's third quarter defense is unstoppable. Every third quarter, we shut people out. That's like a thing for us. In the third quarter, people don't touch us. Mm-hmm. Fourth quarter, for the most part, they had that one big pass or that one big run, and that was all they had against us. But and the sack thing, they got some sacks. I mean, it's just – when they're getting the ball out so quick, it's hard to sack somebody. It really is. They were throwing the quick passes.
Yeah.
And another thing, if you guys didn't know, Ethan Garbers didn't start. Their QB, that was his first start ever. So you got to give him props. He played really well. That was his first start ever. We had no tape on the guy. So the fact that we had no tape on him but his high school film, how do you prepare for him? You can't. So he's 6'4". He runs fast. He's a big guy. I mean, he was poised. You got to give him – like he was about to get whaled a few times, completed the pass. So you got to give him credit, give UCLA credit. I met a couple of the fans. They were really nice people. You know, props to them for coming the whole way out here to watch their team get gutted, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah, overall, I was not happy with the performance. As Sean Taylor likes to say, I was happy with my performance today, if you guys have seen his quotes on Twitter. Sean Taylor, yeah, that's like one of his things. Holy post. I was happy with my performance today, this and that. But anyways, upset that we didn't score more. I hope they just were lollygagging and not, trying to do much in this game, and they're saving it for next week. That's what my positive mind is saying. My negative mind is saying, what are you doing on third down? That's all I got for now.
Yeah, it's definitely the play calling, man. Mm-hmm. But go ahead, Jared. It's the play calling is horrible. The players are fine. I've never been more okay with a player team ever in my life, even though they're not producing. I've never been more happy.
It's situational. Like, it's not like your sitch was just all bad play calling. Like, all of it was bad. There's like really good play schemed up, like the one to Clifford, the long pass, which Drew really underthrew him. He should have just wailed it at him, and it would have been a touchdown. But I think they're trying to underthrow it just in case they can get a PI, so that's what they're doing. But whenever they're waiting for the ball to come, like, you're also giving the other team a chance to pick it off. So stop doing that. But yeah, overall the play calling is okay. It's just situational. It's bad. So go ahead, Jared.
So first off, did we all know we were going to win today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get that out of the way. We knew this was going to be a win. This has been, if I'd like to think that I've watched Penn State for all of my 37 years, but I can remember at least 30 of them, at least. For the last 30 years I have watched Penn State, it's a lather, rinse, repeat thing. The running backs are always the key focal point of the offense. The defense is always the defense. Like, it's just the most important thing about the team. And things don't necessarily go how they're supposed to. I have pretty much felt this for many, many years. So does this surprise me? No. I had a final of 38-10. That was what I thought was going to go down. Everyone, of course, thought they were going to cover the spread. I didn't think that. Not that UCLA didn't make it more tough or anything. It's just we ourselves make it more tough for us.
That play right there, Jared, was my favorite play. That fourth down stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, these guys, they're always constantly prepared to do something either with the run or stopping everything on defense. I've known this for Penn State for so long. That is just how they operate. So this game overall, was it like a throwaway? Kind of, because again, we knew we were going to win this game. There was nothing UCLA that was going to throw at us that we're like, oh my goodness, we're going to be upset. Nothing. So I'm not saying we were kind of thinking ahead for next week, but that's why Nick Singleton didn't play. That's why Drew Aller probably was as conservative and or was taken out of the game probably more than he should have. Yeah, I mean, in reality, it should have been like 350, honestly, for how much we needed Drew to show that he is ready to do something with the offense, with the wide receivers, and, of course, with Mr. Tyler Warren. He is now becoming the darling of Penn State. He is just one of the coolest guys on the field right now. I love watching him play. He's so good. He's so good, dude.
And,
yeah. So
in that one interview he did, he looks like an English teacher. You ever see that one?
Yeah.
No.
All of them. He looks
dude,
like
seeing him standing next to Ty Howell today, I'm like, holy crap, dude, that kid is massive.
I mean, in the end, what you have here is typical Penn State fashion. We always rely more running the ball and being conservative against the teams that we know we're going to beat. And then it's like we prepare next week for what's actually going to come. Because, listen, if I'm right about this, this is our first road trip in 6 years. I mean, we have been at home for a long time. They are really going to have to do everything correct. Now, as far as coaching goes, and I think we all collectively understand how we feel about Franklin, in the sense like it's definitely more of a, I don't know what he's going to do today. Is he going to give us something to look forward to? Most of the time it's something that just makes me shake my head and make me kind of put my hands like this on my head. It's just like there's a lot of things that coaching and just play calling in general, like you said, you did the math. It's not that hard. I mean, and again, I'm not saying it's an arrogant thing, but it seems to me like we are constantly trying to find every which way to make us go, are you that arrogant? Where you just look at your play calling and go like, we don't care if they get the ball back because defensively we're going to take care of you. And you're right. The touchdown was a complete excuse me score at the end. It should not even been close. This defense is fantastic, as always. Can I even put this defense in a category of where they stand in the centuries ranking in the Penn State category? Because as far as I'm concerned, it's number one all the time. I mean, yes, Ohio State always overall has the complete team because they have the better recruits. I get that. But if you look at everything as a whole, Penn State is constantly, decade after decade, just constantly in the top 5, passing, rushing, yards per game. Everything you see what they give up, it's laughable. Like no one can really penetrate. I mean, we had one game against Bowling Green. Did they beat Texas A&M? Am I right about this? Bowling Green?
No, they played them hard. They lost by a touchdown.
Oh, okay.
But so Texas A&M they just destroyed Missouri today. So
So I mean, it's not like Bowling Green is actually not that bad.
We're probably moving up to at least 5 now.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, definitely 6. Definitely. No matter. Yeah.
Bama's cooked. Like, I don't think they're getting in.
Dude, this is why you can't predict anything right now with the NCAA at all. Like, okay, Georgia was number 1. Alabama embarrassed them for one game. Like, it's like if we did a best out of 3, I think Georgia would beat them maybe the other 2 times. Like, sometimes you just have off days. So it's like Georgia then takes care of business against, South Carolina?
Who?
Georgia. Who'd they face?
Yeah, South Carolina.
Yeah, so
Or
they
Auburn,
took care of business. Oh, it's Auburn. Okay, so they took care of business in Auburn. So, yeah, you have Ohio State doing what they do with, like, close games, and then they separate themselves at some point. That I'm not saying that Ohio State is it, but we have all seen this. We've all seen this all the time with it. We stay close, and then they separate at some point. That's just what happens. They just have that one play that goes down the field that we weren't prepared, or they're doing some trickery that, you can't do because, again, best wide receivers, best, like, options that you have with recruits. Like, it makes a difference. So, ultimately, what you have with a game like this, you're expecting nothing but what we saw from the defense. Again, I can only imagine what they have against USC in USC. Dude, if we don't have the biggest test coming for this, if we find a way to take care of business collectively, like, again, no mistakes, none of this bad play calling, none, zero, zip, zero, zilch of any bad play calling for next week. Can't have it, can't afford it.
There's some good news. 2 penalties today. We improved on that. That was very important moving forward because that cannot happen next week. Like you're saying, we have to play a clean game. We had I can't even remember what the penalty. We had 1 holding call and something else. That's all we had all game. So I'm happy with that. Also, if we can play bully ball against USC next week, I think our best way to win that game is what we did at Illinois. Get them off the field, have our offense on the field, because they can pass the ball. They have really good receivers, a good quarterback. If we make it so they can't play offense, we could win. So I think that's how we have to play it next week. We can still pass the ball, but with Singleton back in action, let's run the ball down their freaking throat like we did at Illinois. I don't care what the score is. We can beat them like that. Let's go.
Yeah,
honestly, I totally agree with it. So what you have here now, to Mark's question, and like, could Penn State actually win a national championship with this offense? The answer is yes. The answer is, believe it or not. I know this in this day and age, we are trying so hard to make every game like it's a, Madden score or like, some video game scoring thing. Like, we want high scoring all the time for all offense. Like, I get that, but let's face it, guys, Penn State, that's not their MO. It would take them decades for them to change their ways, which has always been defense first. So with this amazing defense that we have, it's going to really be, if we can win against a top 5 team, we can. But I will tell you this right now, it's going to be like 13-10, 10-9, 9-6. Like, it's going to be the ugliest scoring you've ever seen because the defense will have to use every ounce of their talent to be able to pull it off. That's just what it's going to come down to. If we are going to do something in the national championship conversation, it's going to have to come down to those types of scorings.
Our motto is going to be, does anybody want to play hockey? Didn't think so. Because we're going to score. Does anybody want to play hockey?
I just want to say this about UCLA today, too.
They played hard, man.
Yeah.
They did.
They came in with a really good game plan. So what they did was they took advantage of our 4-2-5 with those quick passes. And then on offense also, what they were trying to do, I knew what they were trying to do. They're trying to keep our offense off the field because they ate up so much clock in the first quarter. And that was really irritating. But we started out, we went 3 and out, I think. I think we went I don't know if we went 3 and out, but we stalled out. And again, the play calling is just horrible. And the run blocking really isn't there. That pulling guard that we had today, like, just completely obliterated that defensive end.
That was amazing.
What's his name again?
Vengo Luane. I forget how to pronounce his name.
Vengo Luane.
He actually was skipping off the field later in the game. I think he's okay. He might have just got cramped up. But yeah, he came off the field later in the game. So hopefully he's all right for next week because he's our best lineman.
But
let's just be honest here.
I'll say this too, just being there in person, seeing them in person. Football is way different now. Back in the day, you had your Jimmy Kennedys, your Michael Haynes, your Tom Bahalis, LeVar Arringtons that were just like Jimmy Kennedy, I mean, that guy was massive, and these guys just looked huge. It was basically like tall bodybuilders with pads on. That's what they used to look like. And these guys are still big, but football is different in the sense that it's way quicker. It's more, it requires more athleticism, but they're still pretty big. Like Zane Durant, man, like, obviously he's a D tackle. Like, you look at him, he doesn't look like that massive. Like, he's a big guy, but you don't see him be like, oh, he's definitely a D tackle. But man, he's such a phenomenal athlete.
I haven't seen a D tackle built like him. Like, he doesn't have an ounce of fat on him. He's just solid brick.
Yeah.
Like, the dude's insane. Like,
he's a freak of an athlete, man. Like, if he, I don't know how tall I can't remember how tall he is.
He's only 6'1", 290. 6'1", 290 is insane.
Yeah,
to be 6'1", 290 pounds and look like that, your body composition has to be alien. Like, you're an alien. I don't know what else.
Yeah,
I mean, look at him.
I mean, that's the thing about him is, like I said, he is a big guy, but I think his size will, because of his height, that might hurt him. But he should be a draft pick, no doubt.
Yeah.
Because he's a freak.
Rutgers lost to Nebraska 14-7. That just happened. So Rutgers is no longer undefeated.
And Nebraska is like,
that's a hockey game.
I don't know what's going on with them, but I tried. So there was this person behind me today, and she said she was from New Jersey. I said, okay, because she said she married into the Penn State family. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, are you a Rutgers fan?" She said, "No, definitely not." And they started playing Bon Jovi. The scene.
Yeah.
Don't Stop Believing. Rutgers always plays the final scene of The Sopranos when he puts the quarter in the what are those things called again? We put the quarter in
jukebox.
They always play that before the game, right?
Yep.
So I knew you would know what it was, Jared. But I said, this is a Rutgers song. He said, "No, it's not. It's for everyone." I'm like, okay, well, you missed my point. I said they play this literally before every game. And I don't know if she never saw The Sopranos or what, but I said that's literally
apparently not.
Song. Well, dude, that's almost 30 years old.
Rutgers can literally own that song, as far as I'm concerned. It's Tony Soprano. That's where he went.
Yeah.
So.
But, are you talking about Journey, bud? You keep saying Bon Jovi. That's Journey. Don't Stop Believing is Journey.
Oh, Journey. Yeah.
Okay. Why did I say Bon Jovi?
I don't know. Maybe you were thinking Living on a Prayer.
I was confused for a minute too. I was like, did they play Bon Jovi today? I don't remember.
But yeah, I just said this is a Rutgers song. She's like, no, it's not. Said, all right.
If Rutgers wanted to buy the rights to that song, they'd have to cough up a serious amount of money they probably don't have. So Penn State,
Don't Stop Believing. You want to buy the rights to Don't Stop Believing, dude? That would be the entire.
It was a joke to saying they own this, so it should be a Rutgers.
Right, I'm just saying that's $1 billion problem.
Exactly.
You know how much money they probably paid just to play that that clip of that. That's the end of The Sopranos, man. It's one of the most famous endings of all time. They probably paid a ton of money just for that, unless
Sopranos,
unless the director gave it to him. But Journey, not Bon Jovi. I don't know why I said Bon Jovi, but Journey.
Oh, real quick, I forgot. Did you guys know who the offensive coordinator is for UCLA? Check this out. Guess who it is? Eric Bieniemy. You know that name? Kansas City Chiefs, 2 years in a row. So they have a good offensive coordinator. Obviously, it didn't work out long term for him, but that's why their scripted drive, when they came out, they looked really fresh. Eric Bieniemy, however you pronounce his last name.
Well, Coach Norwood's on that staff too.
That's UCLA's offensive coordinator. So they have good coaches. They just don't have the players right now. So, I mean, you got to give them credit. They fought. Just we're a better team.
Well, I kept seeing clips of that UCLA coach at his press conference at the Big Ten Media Days.
We're in LA.
Yeah.
That's all he had.
UCLA.
That's all he came with, you know?
We're blue and gold. We're in LA.
I was like, dude.
Our school is named UCLA because we're in LA.
I could have freeballed it better than that. Like, holy crap. And I don't even go there.
I was like, dude, I literally know more about UCLA than this guy, and I know nothing about him.
I had an ongoing joke today. This week I said, it's like UCLA? No, I see a team that's about to get their butts whooped.
What's your thoughts on PSU's shot to win the What's your thoughts on PSU's shot to win the Lambert Trophy? NEC Blitz. You're getting like random comments here from that people, which I like.
Yeah.
By the way, this podcast is almost at 500. We're at 460 right now.
Oh, buddy, you're picking it up.
The Lambert Trophy. So Lambert Meadow. Does anyone know what that is?
Yeah, I'm kind of blanking myself.
What it is. There's a lot of trophies, man. So
there are so many.
Trophy was an annual award given to the best team in the East in Division I FBS, formerly known
FCS.
FBS.
You're all fired.
Formerly 1A.
Hey, man, we can only fire ourselves, so.
All right.
You're all fired.
Yeah. All right.
Well, when was the last time we won it? When was the last time we won that trophy?
Right.
Who are we competing against?
Yes, please. NSC Blitz, please tell us the last time we won this.
Yeah, give us like these random facts, please. 2022. All right, who are we competing against? Are we
everyone in the East? I mean,
are we competing against like Ohio State and stuff, or what? Like the East?
I mean, I'm assuming that too. I mean, that has to be Big Ten involved.
Well, who's going to beat us for the East trophy? We're the biggest.
Jack Lambert. I know that name. The Jack Lambert.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
that's what it is. Jack Lambert.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Huh.
It's the linebacker trophy. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
It's an annual award given by the Touchdown Club of Columbus to the top American collegiate linebacker. So that's what that is. I knew it was.
He's talking about that, like the Lambert, like the.
I mean, yeah, that's got to be the award? 12 Eastern teams. Well, is there also? Are there two awards then? Is there one for
the West?
So
there must be the Jack Lambert Trophy and
you're all fired. I got you, man. 12 Eastern teams. No, dude. Lambert Meadowlands.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, listen, this is what I love about podcasts. Everyone's getting educated. It's not just us. Yeah. We host it, but we're allowed to be educated too.
That's not one of the trophies I'm usually looking at. I mean, usually you look at Heisman, you look at the
big one.
Yeah, I mean that's the big one, and then I can't think.
You know what trophy I'm trying to win? The national championship trophy. That's the one I'm focused on.
Yeah, I mean
that's a good segue.
Big Ten championship would be nice. Yep.
But yeah, give us some facts on that, NEC Blitz. We appreciate the comment. But yeah, I didn't even know what that was. So thank you for telling us that.
Right. Now I'm going to look that up and wonder if we are going to be representing the Lambert trophy next year.
If we're going to be competing against like Rutgers, Brown, and like Altoona, then yeah, we're probably going to win it. So
we might get that "you're all fired" comment again. I'm just.
I think he brought that up. I think because we're talking about Rutgers and Tony Soprano because of Meadowlands. That's. Yeah. But
well, today Rutgers had a swing and a miss, and they lost to Nebraska, so it's a tough loss.
Wow,
it is.
Rutgers is no longer undefeated. That's what
I'm saying.
That's so surprising.
Hey, they had a good little run. Indiana looks. I mean, they beat a crappy Northwestern team today, but they're 6-0 right now. So,
they're fascinating.
They're fascinating. Signetti, Indiana. Signetti, the coach, like when asked about like what's it, he's like, I win. Google me. Like that was his response. That is amazing, dude. He said, I win. Google me.
Listen, I mean, we try to keep it, focused on the topics at hand, but it's like, does James Franklin say that at all? What did I just say? He has 92 regular season wins without a playoff appearance. Like it's him and who's the guy they just brought up? It was like Oklahoma State, Kurt Franzit, the Iowa coach. There's several of these guys. Like he's like so celebrated for how much he can stay relevant and win and have big winning seasons, double digits every year without getting all the way. Now, again, does this happen if they don't move to a 12-team playoff? No, of course we don't. We stay out of it because, once again, it'll always be someone from the SEC, another team from the SEC, Ohio State, potentially Oregon? Like it just seems like that's what it's always going to be, those top 4 teams. So yeah, they had to obviously blow it up for 12 teams and get an opportunity for someone else to join. And that's the thing. We are very much in this conversation every year, I always think, because again, defensively, this team takes care of business. They're always relevant when it comes to the defense. They're always going to stay in the season because of the defense. Now, can James Franklin make decisions for Drew Aller that's going to make him look as elite 5-star recruit as we have all seen he should be? Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting really for this game. I'm waiting for that game where that guy with that much talent and that much, cachet that he has with his name, that's going to go out there and show it all. And does it have to happen at USC? I would like to think so. I'm not saying he needs to go out there and throw 300 yards, but gosh, whatever they're going to do offensively, we need to match.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So right now, from what I saw, we are a 3.5-point favorite over USC.
Really?
Yeah, which makes sense because USC. USC got beat by Michigan. If we're playing Michigan this year, I think we beat them.
But fun fact about Michigan, they're down 7-0 after the first quarter, so you gotta love that. Washington is up, so.
No, I'm not happy about that when it's the fourth quarter and they're down 7.
USC.
But
I think we are the better team, and I think I think we're gonna win. Knock on wood.
Bully ball, like I said, let's play bully ball. That's how we have to beat them.
But yeah, at the end of the day,
if it was a 1.5 spread, I would be more comfortable. Like if that was the bet, like if it was 1.5, I'd say that's respectable because yes, Penn State is the better team on paper. Like everything looks better on paper for Penn State, but I think being 3.5, that does like scare me a little bit because it'll
move. I think it'll move in USC's favor. I really do. In the next week, there's time. But to what NEC Blitz said, Rutgers lost today. Pitt's undefeated. What's their name? Syracuse lost the game.
Like, how do you win this trophy? How do you win this Lambert Meadowlands trophy? I mean, how did we
pick the most dominant team in the East? I don't know.
Like, who the heck beat us at like any of these years? That's what I want to know.
Well, and we're in different conferences than all these guys.
Well, obviously we didn't win it last year, so someone else won it in 2023.
How have we not won this trophy since like the beginning of its freaking existence? Like, look at these teams we're going up against.
Yeah, I mean, Pitt being 5-0 is a rare occasion. That doesn't happen. They should be 3-2. Like normally they'd be like 3-2 right now, or like. That's what the record would be right now, typically. But,
and they're not ranked.
NEC Blitz. What's your team? Do you have a college football team? If you're still here, so we can chat back to them.
Yeah, thanks for posting that, man. Like that's a lot of information. I didn't even know what it was.
Nope.
Let's go.
I was like getting educated.
Yeah.
They should have a legit trophy in the NFL after Jack Lambert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this clip of Jack Lambert the other day. He was a Pop Warner coach after he retired. And I knew a guy from this one gym I went to. He knew Jack Lambert. He said he's a game warden. He's a warden of some. I think he said a game warden of some sort, something like that. In Montana or something.
I would not want to run into that guy, no matter how old he is now.
He's pretty well known for like being out in isolation, kind of by himself. Like he's pretty well known for that. He's a nature guy. So,
dude, ESPN just killed me. ESPN posted the score of Alabama, Georgia from last week and the score of Vanderbilt and Alabama this week and said, life comes at you fast with a laugh emoji. That's crazy.
wait, let me
like
see
I
it.
said, dude, like one week you see this and next week you see the next. I mean,
it says life comes at you fast. It's got both scores up there.
Man, that is unbelievable that Vanderbilt just beat Bama. Like, that's insane, man.
I was watching some of that before I was passing out on the couch, and Vanderbilt was just out toughing them, dude. Like, they were playing old school ball, like fake runs, like to like pitch catches, like just like there was this one like actually I did one to Tyler today, I think, just like a shovel pass, you know. And they did this one, and in between people, I was like, there's no way that guy's catching it. That's going to be a fumble. The dude catches it and runs for like 30 yards. I'm like, what's happening right now?
Well, you know, it's a really cool tie-in. Not that this is like the coincidence or anything like that, but a cool tie-in to Vanderbilt right now. James Franklin. That was his first head coaching job.
He did really well.
Yes. Looks like the legacy is going on out without him. So
I will say this.
It took a while, but
I also wanted to say this, like, because Pat Kraft is always on the sideline. I saw him today, and
yeah,
if they keep winning this way, fine. But with this amount of talent that we have on this team, and if we don't win legitimately and we continue to struggle on offense, I don't care if it's Kotelnicki's first year. He has all the talent in the world. He has one of the most talented rosters in the country. And the two other rosters in the country that I think are going to be the winners at the end of the year were Bama and Tennessee. Now I think it's Tennessee and Ohio State. If you can't win with this amount of talent, I know he needs more weapons on offense, but if you can't win with this amount of talent, then I do think that as good as Franklin is at recruiting, we're never, ever going to win the big game if he's the head coach. I just don't think it's
Well, the bright side is the receivers that we're recruiting right now for 2025 and 26. There's some game changers. I mean, like, I'm talking size, 6'2", 6'2.5", 200 pounds already. Like, the guy we just flipped, Matthew Otten from Virginia. He's coming in next year. He's already college ready, like size wise. And then you got Lyric Samuel, which is a cool name, from New York. He's a little skinny, but he's already 6'3", runs a 4.5 at 6'3" or 6'4", which is insane. In high school, by the way, which you can get faster after that. So they're bringing more playmakers in. So it's a wait and see thing. But I'll tell you what, Harrison Wallace, dude, he runs routes very well. That one play today where he kind of went back in, caught it, broke the tackle, and ran like another 10, 15 yards. Keep giving Harrison Wallace the ball, man. He looks great.
But
he looked good.
Yeah, this is a James Franklin recruited team, and he gets 1,000% credit for that. He is very, very good at recruiting. I mean, this team that he's assembled is unbelievable.
Yep.
And just think about if we had Jameel Lyons on our team today.
Dude, yeah.
I mean, again, he would have probably been a first-round pick. Like, imagine we had him and Kavion Keys both. Do
you know who was a split second away?
That's not his fault, you know.
Do you know who was a split second away from having 2 sacks today? Dennis Sutton looked great today, man. He was a split second away, both of those plays, where he hit the quarterback and he threw the incomplete passes. I'm talking, he was close. So he's starting to come around, man. By the way, Jared, I texted Mark the other day. I went to my barber, and Dennis Sutton is sitting in his chair. So he cuts Dennis Sutton now, yeah. My barber cuts a lot of athletes, but yeah, he's the best in town. And he's cheap. $16 before the tip. Owen's Barbershop by Wegmans.
What is it?
Owen's Barbershop. It's over by Wegmans.
Yeah. Who's your barber?
Josh Welsh. He's the best in town. You walk in, he usually has a hat on, but he's like half Chinese, half black. Like he's like the fifth guy. You walk in, he's like the fifth guy there. He's fantastic. He actually went to my high school, so I knew him from that.
I've heard of a guy. I heard a guy that I know works there as a barber. But I almost went there one time, but they only take cash.
Yeah, they do. But they have an ATM there now. So.
Which means they may be involved in the black market in some form or fashion. But yeah,
it's
so
$16. I mean, that's pretty good. So.
No, that's really good.
Yeah. And they
that's
do
really
good.
So.
I
pay with tip and everything. I pay $20 where I go, and it's right by where I live. And she's like the best. I would like recommend her to people, but she doesn't have openings. So because she's just slammed with people. And it's her own business. You know who I'm talking about, Jared. I don't want to say her name, but
wait, I do know who you're. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be specific, but it's like when you leave where you leave from, like it's about 2 or 3 miles down the road.
Yeah, it's right across from where you work.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So, but, yeah, that's cool that he goes there because he could just go to Fitted downtown, but that's like $50.
Expensive, man. I went there once, Fitted a couple years ago.
I'm
I'll never go back.
so happy I have this problem.
I won't even say why I won't go back there, but let's just say when I went there this one time, I sat there forever. People that came in way after me that like knew the guys, they would just cut in front of me. I was there for like 2 hours. Or an hour and a half. It was so long. I'll never go back. Yeah.
Could have watched a movie.
Yeah, it was bad. I'll never go back. That was like probably 4 or 5 years ago, something like that.
Sounds like it was 4 or 5 years you were waiting.
I think Mark's froze.
I did think he did freeze. You're right. I mean, he's not moving.
He said he'll be back on.
Yeah, I mean, but ultimately what you have here is, again, this was kind of
Listen, it's 14-0. Let's go. That's all I got to say. Sorry, you go.
For Washington, seriously.
Yep.
God, man. I like it.
Wait,
going to make it all the more impressive when we take them on for the big.
Hello? All right. I don't know what happened. Okay. Gotcha.
I don't know what
happened there, man.
Hey, bud.
Dude, my computer, and it does this randomly. It just reset the whole thing. Isn't that weird?
Yes.
Weird.
Well, I mean, in the very beginning of the show, this guy here, like, he was going to start saying something. He went out, came back. Like.
Oh, Brett, yeah, I did that. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Mark, you did miss it, though. Washington's up 14-0, so it's already a good night. So let's just continue. Washington's beating Michigan 14-0. Let's go.
All right. Hey, man, I'll say this. Like, like what's happening right now is working out really well for us.
Yep.
Like, Bama went down. Missouri went down.
Right.
Washington could beat Michigan because that looks good for us if and when we beat Washington because that's the whiteout. But, you know, if because the tickets today, because again, here's the thing. No matter what, I like watching games at home. Now, if it's Ohio State, I don't think I could ever pay like several $100s to go watch a James Franklin coach team because I would just get so mad. But like, here's the thing about Ohio State. I would go watch that, but the tickets are like insane. Like our seats today were like $600 for one seat. And that's going to be jam packed in there too. Now, there was like a couple seats around us that weren't filled, which is nice because again, like I'm 260, man. Like I'm not like, you know, sitting like this. Like you really can't. I need some room.
You're a tight end.
Yeah.
You're a shorter version of Tyler Warren. Basically, he's 6'6", so he's a little taller. But
yeah.
He's what? How tall is he?
Tyler Warren is 6'6", 256. He's gigantic.
Oh my goodness, that's a tank.
He's a human mammoth.
He's freaking huge.
That is massive.
Most tight ends are 6'4", 6'5". Yeah, Drew Allen is 6'5". Most tight ends are 6'4", 6'5". Like even what's his name? Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Can't even think.
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce is 6'5", so Tyler Warren's bigger than him.
So at my other job, we actually had the privilege of getting Penn State players and doing like an autograph thing. They were supposed to go to the State College store that I work at, but they actually came to us because something went down and they actually got transferred to us. So I met 2 of the Penn State players. I cannot remember the other dude's name for the life of me. He was a defensive end. He was a huge dude. Man had to have been no shorter than 6'7". He was massive. It was just about a year or 2 ago. I think it was 2022. Yeah, they were doing something before they went to their bowl season, and they were signing autographs at my place. And
you know what Abdul looks like?
The only one that tall would be what's his name, dude? He's a 6-year senior right now, number 92.
I think he went. But I know these guys both went to the NFL. Both of them went to the NFL the year after.
Okay, then
yeah, so this was like 2 years ago. They came to my place I work at, and they were signing autographs. I met Brandon Strange, tight end.
Strange, yeah.
Strange, yeah.
Awesome, dude. I was telling him about where he should go in the NFL, and if I'm right about it, I think I named Jacksonville. I'm pretty positive I said that for him. I'm like, dude, I think, yep. I said to the guy, I'm like, you should either be going to the 49ers to replace George Kittle, or you could be Jacksonville's next big answer to tight end. And he's like, maybe, always that thing you always tell fans or people you meet. It's like, it was a really cool thing to.
Now he needs a QB is the problem. So his QB is terrible. So
yeah.
The worst QB I've seen. Recently, it's been bad. Last 2 years.
We just lost to the Steelers just lost to the Colts, dude. Not to segue up to the NFL, but we just lost to the Colts. They're taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. The Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 0-3. They're favored by like 3.5 points.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They're 0-3, yet they're going to beat Indianapolis. If we can't beat them, there's no way Jacksonville's beating them.
No. But, yeah.
So overall, at the end of the day, overall, at the end of the day, we had K-Tron and Quentin Martin were our 2 backs today. We didn't have our starter. I love Quentin Martin, but he's not our starter right now, and he has no experience. Liam Clifford was our leading receiver. You never want to see that.
He had a good game.
Yeah, I mean, good for him, but and then Tony Rojas was our leading tackler. So, what do you guys think overall of the game? I mean, what do you think overall of the performance?
That's good for Tony Rojas because he hasn't been tackling well as a whole. He's been just having poor tackling. So it's good to see that he wrapped up on some tackles today. Overall thoughts, like I said, they go away from the pass on these third downs. That's more of a play calling thing. I think the team played pretty well overall offensively. A couple missed throws, couple drop. There was a one pass, I think, to Amari Evans. He should have caught it. It hit him in the hands. So a couple of things to clean up. Offensive line, run blocking wasn't great today, but they did good last week. So that they can do better. They just have to do that. So I think next week they'll be hungry for the ranked matchup against USC, and I think we'll put some things together.
Overall, I'd say if I was to give it a letter grade, I think this was a B+ game. I wouldn't give it an A. I mean, obviously the defense gets the A. If that's what makes it a good grade, it's obviously from the defensive side. They're a solid A all the time. They showed up today. They took care of business when they needed to. Overall, with the offense, I'm going to say, I don't want to be too cruel, but I mean, I'm going to say probably C+, maybe B-. It's somewhere in that vicinity. So they definitely need to stop just giving us these excuse me plays where it's like, why we shouldn't be questioning at this point when we have a small sample size of the season where we're going into the heart of the toughest part of the schedule. We're going up against USC, and help me out who we play next.
We're at USC, and then we got a bye. Then we're at Wisconsin. Then we got Ohio State.
Okay. Now, I mean, Wisconsin, what? 2-3, 3-2, something like that.
Yeah, they're not great. They're okay.
They're okay.
They beat up on who'd they beat up today? They beat
Purdue.
They beat Purdue. Yeah, Purdue's they're a lost cause. So yeah,
Purdue's awful.
Purdue just fired their offensive coordinator. That's where their life is going. So
I can't base anything off of Purdue. If we beat Purdue, that's not nothing.
But I would say
be 4-2 coming into our game.
Yeah, I would say B- for offense. I agree with that, Jared. Like a B-. It can be better, and I think it will be better. They just have to call better plays.
Yeah, so we got USC next week again. Like, I see no reason why we can't win this game. Even doing what we're doing now, I still think we can win. The only thing that will happen is if we get skittish and timid, like we usually do against good teams. Now we have a new offensive coordinator, which helps. I don't think we're going to see a Mike Yursich type of BS, freaking horrible.
No.
Literally like a 3-year-old could call better plays type of game against USC. But yeah, I think overall I would have to give them like a C+ overall. The defense, in my opinion, did really good because they held them. They were just taking advantage of our 4-2-5, man. They were throwing those quick passes. Bieniemy, Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator, is their offensive coordinator. And, Coach Norwood, he's on the staff too. He definitely helped, I'm sure, kind of be like, hey, this is what Penn State is gonna do. This is what they always do. They've always done. And we didn't have our starting running back. Again, our depth, no matter what, is limited because more limited. It's not limited. It's more limited because of like a Jameel Lyons not being on the team anymore. But yeah, overall, man, like we look pretty good, but I have to give them like a C+ because we didn't play like we should have. And again, we're gonna find out, man. Like we're gonna find out, especially against Ohio State. I really, really, really hope this isn't like a James Franklin, like, oh, we can lose to Ohio State and still get in. No, we need to beat USC. We need to beat Wisconsin. We need to beat Ohio State. We need to beat everybody on our schedule. You know how crazy it would be if we went undefeated?
It'd be crazy.
And we could.
We can.
I'm going to throw one little thought into this, but just one little thought. If we take on Ohio State, when we take on Ohio State, and they may be the number 1 ranked team at that point, if we can lose convincingly,
exactly.
If we lose by like a field goal, and if we're like down by something, if we kick a field goal and miss or something of that nature, that would be the only. I'll be heartbroken too, but I'm just saying that would be the one way I'd be like, yes, we still can have a shot at doing something. Because, again, we fought them every single step of the way. That's the thing. I just don't want to see us completely collapse. That's where I'm always at with Penn State, where it's like, when's the time of the game where that's all going to fall apart? Or how are they going to have the big pick? Or when is it going to, like, go the other way? Like, that's always the problem with Penn State. If that's the thing that always knocks them down in standings, if we can't, like, somehow mesh with anybody else, that's where it all comes down to. Just please start making better decisions at this point.
2017 and 2018 games when we lost by a point where we shouldn't have lost. Those games. That's what we're talking about. But instead of falling, like being up and falling down, even if we're down and make our way up, to show some fight. Like show some fight. That's what we need to do. Michigan scored, so it's 14-7. I'm not happy.
You guys have anything else to say about Penn State?
I'm good to go.
I'm good.
All right,
yeah,
Brett.
It was a good show.
All right, Brett. Since you're our Steelers expert, what do you think about the Steelers Cowboys tomorrow?
I already made a prediction for the score. I just didn't say who was going to win. The other day, I said it's going to be a 2017 game. Pick your poison on who's winning. I have no idea.
Well, going off of what Mike Kresovich said,
that's
we had him on, and he's always a good guest. I really like having Mike on because he actually was a sports journalist. Him and I were the same major at Penn State, and he's he really knows his stuff. But what did he say about? Yeah, he said it's gonna be like 13-9. Steelers are gonna win on like a crazy defensive penalty. But I agree, man. Like we haven't scored points yet this year. Why are we gonna score them against the Cowboys? And in prime time in particular, I think Justin Fields probably have like a rushing touchdown or two. I just missed a passing touchdown by Justin Fields against who was it, Jared? The last home game they had.
Oh, the Chargers?
He had 2 touchdowns. Now, if he had another passing touchdown, I said, if he throws for over 200, whatever, I can't remember what you said, but you said, I want him to have 200 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. And I said, well, if that happens, I'm going to join the priesthood.
And you got it.
I was 1 touchdown away from doing that. So, but he did have 2 touchdowns. He just didn't have 2 passing touchdowns. So,
right.
But, overall, man, like with I think with Penn State, we can pretty much be done with that. But the Steelers, man, like they have a lot of it. They do have issues. James Daniels is out. Highsmith is out for this game. Najee is horrible at running back. But we're good. I mean, I think overall we're good, man. Like Justin Fields, I really like him. Russell Wilson's in a perfect position to mentor Justin Fields. He's a weird dude, but he's in a good position to mentor Justin Fields. I mean, he's a coach with pads, man. Like he wears pads on the sideline. He's a coach. He's basically a coach. Like what's he doing right now? He's like he just goes home to Sierra and he's like, I'm just bringing in my $1 million this year, and then eventually we're gonna go like cure world hunger or something. I can see him doing that. But you know what I'm saying, Jared? Like he's just what's he doing? I mean, he's in a good position to mentor Fields, and maybe the Steelers plan for this to happen. I don't know, but it's working out well, I think. We're 3-1. That's pretty good.
Do you know what's going to happen, sir? I know this is going to blow your mind, but I promise you this is really what's happening right now. Omar Khan is right now in the process of inquiring Davante Adams.
Yeah, I think
he's not making this mistake again, not with the Brandon Ayuk thing. Ever since the Brandon Ayuk thing. So you know what he's doing?
No.
He's going to be getting Davante Adams. And the Las Vegas Raiders are going to get Russell Wilson.
Have fun,
and
Brett.
This is where I say I hate my life.
Because Brett's a Raiders fan. So
yeah. So right. on that note, I'm just saying. I'm gonna head out, guys. All right.
This is how it looks.
All right, Brett.
See you, man.
See you, bud.
I'll see you guys later. Good show.
Thanks, bud.
See you.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think they will get him because I just think they will. Last I saw, I think it was today, they're making an aggressive offer towards Davante Adams. And yes, and Mike said, I don't know if you watched that episode, Brett or Jared, but Mike said the Steelers need more weapons, and that's what they're trying to do right now. And I think because they are, man, they're like one weapon away. I wish they could get a better running back, but they're one weapon away at receiver, I think, at really being true contenders in the playoffs. I really do. This defense, again, and I said with Highsmith, Patrick Queen, and TJ Watt, this is a Joey Porter days linebacking core right now. So,
I mean, listen, we can go gush on and on about the defense. This defense has shown so many great things. However, with last week, like we talked, again, Chargers, it was great. They did exactly what I wanted them to do. We went up 3-0. We were going in a great place, and we going up against the Colts. And last year I remember how we embarrassed ourselves because we were winning that game last year against the Colts, and then they ended up embarrassing us. I think they went 30-7 in the last 2 quarters. It was bad. So then you watch how they went up against them again, and it was exactly the same results. We fell asleep in the first quarter. It was one of the worst quarters I've ever seen of the season, for sure. So we were down 17-0. We came back and outscored them. What was it, 21-10 in the second half? Justin Fields came alive in the second half. Dude, that man was possessed. I was like, who is this version of Justin Fields, and can we have him all the time? I would very much be a happy guy for that.
Yeah.
He very much had every single thing going for him. He made everybody look amazing. He made himself look like elite. Dude, this is like the version of Justin Fields everyone talked about in Chicago, like when he was coming into the NFL. This was the guy they were all going to see at all times. Dude, Chicago, if the poor city of Chicago, like I can honestly say this for sure, two things in the sporting world. The Pittsburgh Pirates, the baseball team, is going to be complete garbage every year, and the Chicago Bears are going to ruin whatever quarterback they've got. Like that's two guarantees you have in the sporting world. Like it's amazing what this team has gone through since the Jay Daniels or Jay Cutler years. Like Jay Cutler was like a rarity in its own where he was actually a decent quarterback, but then they had absolutely nothing going for them on any other side. And when he went, it went right back to the same thing. They all looked like garbage. Like everybody was like the most inept thing. It's unbelievable. I cannot believe what happens to Chicago players when they go into that franchise, into that system. Like they never come out looking good ever. So Justin Fields, it's a life preserver. It's Pittsburgh. He got out, and dude, if it wasn't like night and day, seeing how he actually brings himself into the limelight with Arthur Smith as his coordinator, it's awesome. I'm so impressed. I was not expecting this version of Justin Fields this quick. Like, was it like going to happen maybe in a year? That would have been awesome. Dude, he is like, I've wanted this a long time. And I think Arthur Smith can kind of say the same thing because he's kind of been mediocre down in Atlanta as a head coach. So it's like both of them are having a renaissance right now and a resurge of their careers. It's the greatest thing that could happen for Pittsburgh. And again, a team like Dallas, this game this week, tomorrow night, prime time. Did you know this is the first time that these two teams have met each other in prime time in the regular season in over 40 years?
Well, it's the first time. I know it's the first time they've met on Sunday night. Now they did the last time we played them. Well, I'll say the last time that I remember that the Cowboys beat us. I think it was Christmas Day. That was when Zeke ran it in at the end.
I know that was around Christmas time. I know exactly which one you're talking about because, okay, it's been 8 years. I'm going to say it. I saw the game at work on my phone. I was going back and forth to see what I was watching. I needed to know. So I was like, we're winning. We have the ball, they have the ball, but they're like pinned back, in our 15 yard line with like 20 seconds to go. I was wondering how it was going to go down. Like, were we going to sack them a little more times? How long was it going to take for them to throw a Hail Mary? And then, of course, I saw on my phone the little line zip all the way to the end and this touchdown, and we lost by like 3 points. I was so devastated. I'm like, wow. And I mean, it derailed them. I think they were on a good path, like in the season, and then that put us in a weird record. And I think we ended up, I don't know, like at the time that's 8-8 or 9-7. It was like, it was what it was. That team is notorious for always taking us down to the wire. But dude, this game is like, I don't know. It's like Wreck-It Ralph football. Like everybody's hurt. Everything's like destroyed. Each side has something wrong. It's just going to be, it's going to be ugly. It's definitely not going to be pretty. I mean, maybe here's the thing. If it's going to be pretty for us, it's going to obviously, again, come from Justin Fields and company with what he does. Now, could George Pickens have the game of his life? I'm hoping. This is what I also need to see from the Steelers. I need to see the slate of the WR1. I want to see where George Pickens stands really as a big playmaker. Like, can he get free? Can the guy actually have like 120 plus yard game with 2 touchdowns? Like, it needs to be seen at some point. If we're really talking about getting somewhere with like the rest of the league, like, do we want to try to compete with Buffalo? Can we compete with teams like the Texans or I don't even want to say the Ravens, but yeah, they have a high scoring offense this year. I think they're number 2, the Ravens, in offense this year, number wise. Like they just have always good stuff right there. But defensively, dude, the Ravens don't have an answer. They don't. They're really banged up on defense, really banged up. And the Bengals, like, they're holding on for dear life based on what Joe Burrow is doing. Dude has like a 71% completion this year. It's crazy. The dude is elite. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So they're always going to have these guys answer things, but as an overall team performance, this is why we're 3-1 right now. Like, we just have a lot of great things. Despite our injuries, we're constantly doing things right. We always show up when we need to, truly. I mean, you're talking what? If that one offensive call by Minka, the defensive pass interference or whatever by Minka doesn't happen, then we still had a shot. We could have won that game. Certain things happen. You can't win every game. Like, you're not going 17-0. It's just unheard of. It's very much a rarity. So I wasn't anticipating us going all the way like that. But to lose to a team like Indianapolis that didn't have a whole lot going for them, it was kind of startling, and it's unfortunate. But this is why you play teams like Dallas, who are completely banged up. And it's a great thing for them to have going into the next couple weeks because, like I said, this is the first half, which is the easiest part of the schedule. And then we go into the second half, which will be a gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. So they're 2-2. We're 3-1. Comparison wise, we got a 51% chance to win. We're 2.5-point favorites. Over under is 43.5. I'd probably take the under if you're going to bet.
Yeah.
But injury report, it's fairly even. I thought isn't Highsmith out for us?
I thought he was.
Maybe
is he
not.
saying he's questionable?
On here, it doesn't say anything about him.
Oh.
On the injury report. So why did it take me to the Cardinals? What the heck? Let's see here. I guess it's giving me the entire NFL. Just give me a second here. But yeah, so they got Trayvon is questionable. Brandon Cooks is out. Mike is out. DeMarcus is out. Man, they got a lot of injuries.
Yeah. But again, when you have a schedule like we do, it's Dallas this week, and then it's the Raiders next week. And I mean, yes, the Raiders can be good. They're consistent. You know, it's up and down for a team like that. I mean, if you can sloth your way through the Cowboys and the Raiders, that's 2 weeks that you can give these guys to heal up. Because again, teams like New York, the Jets at least, like that's something that you need to prepare yourself for because they will hammer. Like that's a tough hitting team. They are always going to make things close. Like again, you can't predict really the NFL at all. I mean, no one can with anybody, especially with a team like Denver beat New York 10-9. Like that's just how it works sometimes. Defenses will show up or not, and offenses will show up or not. But that's the thing. I like to think that you take away the first quarter of last week's game, the defense had shown up every single game so far for the Steelers. It was like the most consistent thing. I mean, you take away that first quarter, we weren't having a problem with that game. So I feel like what you're seeing now is everything just constantly going at a good flow. Like we know we can beat teams that we're playing. We have to keep our minds like knowing that what we have in terms of injury or who's healthy now, if you can just get through it, just win by a touchdown, win by a field goal. That's the thing about the NFL. You don't have rankings. As long as you win, you have the better record. So you're looking right now, again, with Cleveland. Like, Cleveland's not doing anything right now. I mean, Deshaun Watson's practically getting benched. Like, their defense is what's keeping them decent or interesting. And again, everybody else's teams, like the Bengals and Baltimore, if their defenses aren't like in the bottom 25, I'd be shocked because their just numbers are bad. So I feel like we do have, of all the teams in our division, the best complete team. So I would like to think going forward with this schedule, could we lose another one? It's possible. I mean, but in the end, if you look at how we go into the bye, week 9, if we're 6-2, even 5-3, I'll even be like as low as say 5-3. That should still be winning this division because everybody else is going to be playing each other at some point, and they'll have to win or lose. So right now, I think the Bengals are playing the Ravens this weekend. So
let me look here. We got Tampa Bay at Atlanta, New York at Minnesota Monday, right?
Yep.
No.
No.
Oh, they're overseas. 9:30 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, the London game. Yeah.
And then we got, let's see, Baltimore at Cincinnati at 1. We're Sunday night. Buffalo at Houston. Cleveland at Washington. Miami at New England. Got a lot of good matchups.
Dude, the Washington Commanders, if you've not been like following them, they're 3-1 right now. Jaden Daniels, LSU, dude, he is Rookie of the Year right now. It's awesome. I had a feeling this was what was gonna happen for Washington. They were a dark horse team to me. They're very much fun to watch. Like, they're doing a lot of fun things. So,
yeah.
I mean, again, we're 1 or 2 pieces away offensively. Now, if everyone was healthy defensively, again, this would not even be a contest. We would be taking on the AFC for sure. But again, all the injuries, it's like you got to pull back and just kind of hope that you sneak yourself in, because everybody else, again, they're kind of all over the place. Like, Buffalo is a good team. They have a lot of good stuff. The Ravens, again, they have a lot of stuff, but I think their record is below us. Like, there's not a lot of like eliteness in the AFC. Like, everybody's doing something different. So it's definitely going to come down to how fast can our guys heal up. And a team like Dallas, dude, I mean, best case scenario, like I said, we have all these great weapons. We have Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth. You don't have to just rely on George Pickens. They could get the ball too. This game could very well be a great coming out party for a team like Pittsburgh, who's looking for an identity offensively. So you want to do something big. Yes, make them be the big playmakers. And again, what we're looking at is probably, if I want to put a realistic score on this, I would say that's pretty close. What you said, it would be 20-17. That would be what I realistically would think for us, for Pittsburgh to win. But perhaps we see something a little different where we go maybe 28. Maybe we have 4 touchdowns in this game. Hell, I'll be generous and say 4 touchdowns and a field goal. I love Chris Boswell. He's one of the best kickers in the regular season. So, I mean, I'd say my wildest dreams, I'll say we win this game 31-10.
Okay.
But realistically, it'll be 20-17.
Yeah, I think it's possible we score some touchdowns. I mean, Micah is out. Lawrence is out. Diggs is out. I mean, questionable.
Yep, Diggs is out. Trayvon Diggs.
So, yeah, man, it's like one of those things where they have a lot of injuries, and our injuries are less significant than theirs. So, yeah, I could see some points being scored. But,
and dude, don't forget about TJ. Like, the guy who's going to be protecting for Dak Prescott, I mean, dude, he's going to be running everywhere this game. It's another one of those things where TJ's going to feast. It's going to be really fun to watch him go all over the field.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's going to be it's a good matchup, and it's Sunday night, so I'm happy to see it. But, Jared, do you have anything else you want to say about the Steelers?
Yep, I've covered it all, bud.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yes.
I don't really have much to say, man. I was talking to some people about the Steelers, and I just said, I'm at the point now with the way they are, the way Tomlin is, that to try and pinpoint what they can do, or pinpoint issues, or pinpoint what they're trying to do. Mike said if Mike Tomlin had a quarterback, they probably would have won a Super Bowl fairly recently, and that's true. But yeah, man, I really don't know what to where to put my finger on the Steelers. I just don't know exactly what in the future, what they're going to do, what they're really trying to do. Like, can they actually compete for a Super Bowl? I think at this point they can compete for playoffs and doing decent in the playoffs because they're a scrappy team, but we'll see.
That's fair.
That's where I'm at, man. I love to break down Penn State because I know them. I know my team. But the Steelers, I just don't know I really don't know what to say. And that's kind of why I just let you, say your thing, because you're really passionate about the Steelers. And they're absolutely my team, but
let's tie it all together, because you think about this, Penn State and Steelers are, again, mirroring a lot of things where we both got offensive coordinators that are really improving a lot of the game. We have a lot of great play coming from quarterbacks. Like, we're doing some very important things, but we're still questioning our head coaches. Despite all of the improvements, we're still arguing, is this going to be the time where they push themselves to do what they need to do to get to that level? Like everyone else knows what you need to do, but will they do it? That's the thing. It's like Tomlin and Franklin might as well be brothers. Like they seem like they handle themselves almost identical. They feel like they are doing everything they want to do, and they say it in a way that only they can explain it. Like it seems like they very much have that in them to always be kind of like, I want to say what I want to say, and I'm going to say it like this, and then you're going to hear it, and you're not going to know how to say it back because I'm the only one who can say it. Like that's how they act. So it's interesting how we both like these teams because they kind of have a lot of the same either problems or how they want to go about their business. So I would love Penn State to win a national championship. I'd love the Steelers to win a Super Bowl, but where do the coaches want to take us? Like, you're right. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I understand that problem myself. So it's just going to be up to them to lead this team.
Yeah. I realistically see in the near future, depending on how Penn State does, James Franklin not being at Penn State, and I realistically see Mike Tomlin not being at the Steelers anymore, because they can't keep doing what they're doing. If you want, because you just can't, man. Like you can't keep doing this. It has to change. This isn't Marvin Lewis and the Bengals for 20 years. It can't keep happening. So, yeah. All right, Jared. Have a good night. Thank you guys for listening, coming on. NEC Blitz, thanks for the comments. Again,
thank you, NEC Blitz.
No idea what the heck how we don't win that every year with those listed teams, but yeah, man, we're trying to get the national title. That's the trophy that I'm definitely focused on. But all right, man, have a good night. We'll see you guys this week at some point.
Thanks, guys.